managed to enrage half of Chicago last year by correctly predicting the White Sox, World Series winners of 2005, would finish with 72 wins and 90 losses. They finished with 72 wins and 90 losses. He has moved up in the world now, and now John McCain's strategists and supporters are going to be mad at him, or they will be after they see this. Our third story in the countdown, why a man who has elevated statistical prediction in sports to an art form now says it's statistically more probable that Barack Obama will win the 2008 election. Nate Silver's website is called 538.com after the total number of electors in the Electoral College, using a highly sophisticated mathematical formula not dissimilar to some of the baseball forecasting, herein based on multiple sources of polling data and 10,000 simulations. With 270 votes needed for election, Mr. Silver's number crunching suggests Obama takes 296.3 electoral votes, McCain 241.7 here in the traditional pie chart format, here in the state-by-state map. We're joined now by Nate Silver of Baseball Prospectus and 538.com. Thanks for your time tonight, sir.
Anytime, Keith.
First of all, let's take another look at those two graphics showing Obama with 296.3 votes. And you can, if you will, gently walk those of us who hit our math wall in high school and have understood nothing new since. Walk us through how you arrive at these numbers.
Well, all we're really doing is taking different polls, and we assign different weights to the polls based on how reliable they've been in the past. Some polling firms really are kind of throwing darts at the wall and seeing what sticks. You know, others really are very scientific about it. So we treat different polls differently, and we combine them with demographic variables as well. If you have a poll showing Barack Obama way ahead in North Dakota but way behind in South Dakota, we kind of balance those numbers out. But it should give you kind of a common sense projection, kind of a computerized version of a Chuck Todd kind of map, we hope.
He'll be happy to hear that description. My favorite fictional politician, Prime Minister Francis Urquhart, said that the events of life are the politician's enemy, that they mess everything you have planned up. How reliable do you think your forecasts are, and how do they change as we get closer to the election?
I mean, at this point, there's a pretty big margin of error. I mean, a pollster might report a 3-point margin of error, but really it's more like 7 or 8 points if you look historically going back to 1952 at how much these polls move. Once we have the convention, especially the first debate, I think, is a time when kind of Obama will be vetted by a lot of voters. I think that will be a very important time when the polls really mean something. But right now, you've had candidates ahead at this point in the cycle who, lost badly, like a Dukakis, for example, in '88. The movement comes after Labor Day and, after the conventions, really.
Nate, one upcoming event, the selection of the running mates, vital decisions, say the traditional political analysts and the pollsters. Are they, in fact, vital decisions?
They're not vital. We think that a VP might make a difference of, kind of 2 or 3 points, but it depends on the state as well. In a small state, like if Montana were to have a VP pick like Brian Schweitzer, that could make a 7 or 8 point difference. In a large state like Pennsylvania or California, it's almost a demotion to be VP if you're the governor of Pennsylvania, the governor of Florida. So it depends on where you're looking. In a mid-sized state like Indiana, Virginia, Minnesota, where most of the VPs seem to be coming from, we're talking about maybe 2 or 3 points.
What stock do you put, having analyzed these numbers, what do you put in some of the other non-traditional forecasting methods like the online and offshore political betting websites? Are they of any use?
I think they're of some use. I mean, there's been some serious academic work saying that, they give you some information, but if you really know how to look at the polls in an educated way, realize that the margins of error are much larger than they advertise, that you'll probably do a little bit better with our kind of method. But we probably drive the markets. I know we get a lot of traffic in Ireland and the UK where this stuff is legal to bet on. So I think we're kind of informing them instead of the other way around.
You offer some non-stat-based insight as well. I imagine it goes hand in glove with the statistics, but recently you made an observation about Obama on the drilling compromise, the 10 senators drilling compromise, and how if he positions that correctly, it could seriously influence these numbers in this campaign?
I think so. I mean, I think Obama's, getting hammered right now on not having an answer to gas prices. I think he needs kind of a 30-second soundbite. The compromise that has 10, or 5 Democrats, 5 Republicans, that's going to work its way into the Senate after the recess, it's a pretty good bill, and I think, it does close the tax loophole for the oil companies. It does spend $20 billion on energy R&D. It's a good proposal. McCain doesn't want to endorse it because he thinks, he doesn't want to raise taxes on oil companies. That's a great talking point for Obama. Obama has to embrace this proposal, fully sign on as a co-sponsor. I think that could be a checkmate kind of event in the election.
All right, well then here's finally the most important question of the night. The director wants to know this. Is Jeff Karstens of the Pirates for real? The director's from Pittsburgh, and I'm here from New York, and neither of us can believe this is the real story.
You know, I would give a thumbs down to that one, I think, Keith. But you never know. I mean, there was a poll out the other day saying the Cubs are going to win the World Series, so you have to take none of this stuff terribly seriously.
Well, look, we're here. Are the Cubs going to win the World Series?
I think they're a fantastic team, but I don't want to go against 100 years of history here, so I'll say no.
All right. Nate Silver, the man behind 538.com, and also still involved in Baseball Prospectus, two of your better website locations. Thanks for your time, Nate.
Thank you, Keith.